What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Now, I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about March for Batman Arkham. Now, I know I did this for February. I kind of want to do this for March in a different kind of light, right? Talking about some of the key dates to look out for, talking about what we could maybe expect from March in the first place. I know there's probably going to be lots of haters around just in general. They normally appear for these kind of videos. But you know what? It's totally cool. For the most part, we're going to ignore them and just do our thing. I know I said, February should have been a month. It absolutely, at the end of the day, should have been a month where we get these images, at least these teasers, right? And that's ultimately what I'm talking about, by the way, at the very least. I mean, I guess it is possible we get something else. But looking to March, I mean, March has some history. March has, I guess, a lead up into April, which has even more history. But March and April are big months historically for Batman Arkham. We had Arkham Knight being announced by Game Informer back in March of 2014. So this does, again, have historical purposes, for this is when the last main Arkham game, now not Arkham Origins, obviously, from Warner Bros. Montreal, but the last Arkham game that we got was announced in March by Game Informer. You go to Arkham Origins, and Arkham Origins was actually announced in the April edition of Game Informer that year that it was supposed to air in 2013. I don't know if it had been rumored or leaked heavily before then. I think it was. But in terms of official announcement, March and April for the last two Arkham games have been the months. And again, it makes a lot of sense in terms of, hey, we've talked about it, Warner Bros. You announce your game, and at the end of the day, guys, this is it. We're getting closer and closer and closer because, again, we have had examples of games from Warner Bros. Being announced and released as up to 3 to 4 months later, right? So last year we had Mortal Kombat, which was announced at the Game Awards, and then it came out in April. So that was 4 months after it was announced at a release. That was pretty close. That was, I think, honestly, from games that I can remember, that's one of the closest, you get an announcement and the game releases in terms of big publishers, right? Big, huge games. That's about as big as it gets. I guess the other ones would be Fallout. So Fallouts normally get announced in June, and then they release around 4.5 to 5 months later in November, right? The last two, Fallout 76 and Fallout 4, were both announced in June at Bethesda's E3, and they both released in November. So that's around 4.5 months. So those are about the shortest amount of time that can happen, but normally it is around that 6 month-ish range, 6 to 8 months, but we're getting there. I mean, if Warner Bros. Does announce it and say the release date at E3, they could, and if it comes out in November, that is 4 months, right? So they could still have that time. But here we are, right? So if they announce it in March, that would be 7 months to October. Or if they announce in April to October, that would be 6 months, which again is what they did with Arkham Origins. So again, historically, these are huge months. I'm not saying that we're going to get the announcement. It's very clear that Warner Bros. And Warner Bros. Montreal has decided to really shake. They thought that it was too boring to do it on Game Informer again, right? Because you can't do it 3 times in a row. Arkham City was announced at the Video Game Awards, right? So obviously they want to change it up every couple times. So, what better way than to give us images at just random times? But they are not random times, right? Both times have been National Whatever Day, right? The last one was, I think, National Police Officer Day, something like that. It had actual there was one of those mini Twitter kind of holidays. The day they announced those images back in January. Now, March 30th is Batman's birthday. It would be the 81st year from his first appearance in Detective Comics. So, literally Batman, 80. This would be 81 years in this March 30th. So, I mean, come on. You really, at this point of time, again, people have tried to crack the code of these images. We know that's the worst part. Can I just say that really fast? Can I just throw my opinion in here really fast? That is one of the worst parts about this, the fact that a lot of people, including us, Tyler had made some graphics for what we think and everybody kind of thinks we're going to get, right? Don't we know what these images are going to be, right? There's going to be the Bat family. We kind of know what we're going to get. So, even when we get these images, sure, everybody, the people that aren't paying attention, the people that just jump on when it's popular, capitalize, and then leave, they'll jump in. They'll be like, oh my God, it's the Bat family symbols. But we kind of expect that, right? We know that's what we're probably going to get. So it just kind of, again, that's kind of just an opinion thrown there. Doesn't it kind of suck that even when we get these images, It's not like they're going to be wildly surprising to us, right? Unless they are. I mean, they could be. I think one of the bigger things would be if they give us an image and then give us something else. Truly, what I would love for them to start doing, for the love of God, would be to start promoting the next time they do it. So if in March they announce the images or they show a new batch of images, and again, we talked about it, they have like 2 to 3 more waves of images that they need to do. Unless they do them all at once, which doesn't really make any sense, but I guess we're talking about them anyway, so, what does? However, I guess they could. I guess they could put all of them together. But if they don't, it would kind of be nice for them to say, like, another day, right? Like April 12th. I don't is that Easter? Or it's not, they could just do a random day, like say, hey, like, keep an eye out for April whatever. And that's it. And we can all just assume, okay, that's when the new batch is coming out. But truly, again, like what sucks more this time around is, yes, people have said, and I've said too, and so I don't disagree, that like, hey, we should be getting an announcement. In fact, I even talked about how E3, I really don't think E3 should be the time for the first time that they announced this game. I really think they should have already have announced it, which they've done the last 2 games. So again, history does matter. I think you need to go into E3, if you're Warner Bros., you need to go into E3 with this game clearly announced. Title, possibly even release date. I do not think Arkham Knight got a release date when it was first announced. I could be wrong. Arkham Origins did, though. So Arkham Origins was announced in April in the Game Informer, and that same day when everybody was talking about it, they did confirm like October 25th. So they had that. So it's possible, like they could do the release date. That's totally cool. They don't have to. That's also fine. Again, Arkham Knight was delayed. So even though Arkham Knight was supposed to also be in the fall, obviously getting delayed almost a full year to June. But I think you do need to have the game announced because again, we've talked about the plan, the bigger plan, because ultimately, look Warner Bros. Montreal, it's not all about you. Okay, it's not. And obviously they don't believe it. That's obviously a joke, but some people can't tell if I'm kidding or not. Truly, though, this is about a DC universe. This is about creating more than one game for all of your superheroes, right? And so I don't think you go in to your E3 and announce the Superman game because if it's true, if Superman's an Xbox exclusive, which cross your fingers to hope that it's not, if it is, though, it would probably be on Microsoft's stage at E3. So you have that, and then if at Warner Bros. Presentation, which you got to assume they do something, right? Like a live stream kind of thing. Maybe they announce like a new Middle-earth game or whatever. They do the Monolith thing. They re-show the Superman thing or talk more about it. They do Rocksteadies for the first time ever. That's their big weapon. That's what they really wanted. That's why they're there, right? Obviously, Cyberpunk 2077 is another reason, but so they show Rocksteady and they say, here it is. Like, open your eyes and get ready. And then they could also show additional info on the Arkham game, right? A release date if it doesn't already have one. You can show gameplay. You can do all that stuff. So you can start to see, right? You can start to see and build a timeline, but it's more than just this Arkham game is the biggest thing I want you guys to take away from it. And how does that connect to March? Well, again, it's not so easy as it was last time when they just, showed it at Game Informer or that it was their Game Informer cover and then bam, it's done and we know all about it. Now we're in a situation where it's like we got to get these images out of the way because I think everybody out there knows we aren't getting anything in addition until we get those images. Now, again, I guess my hope, my prediction, but it's like a hope prediction would be that we get a little information with the images. I don't know if that would make sense because then it's like, well, why wouldn't you just give the whole thing? But they've really shot themselves in the foot here because we're stuck at these images that, again, we all know what they are. We all know that at the end of these images, you're going to talk about the game. So why did you have to do the images in the first place is the biggest thing that everybody is probably saying, right? That's what I'm saying. So I guess my hope would be that we get a little extra information, maybe even, again, just another day. But March is big. Again, historically with Arkham Knight, we have March 30th is a big day. I don't know if there's any other days. You guys can let me know in the comments below if there's any other days we should look forward to. But we've talked so much about it. Truly, no matter what, I do think they've hurt themselves. I think they've hurt themselves. March is a big month for games, if you think about it. February was almost completely empty. I mean, we had Dreams on the PS4. That was pretty much it. March, there is a lot. And not just is there a lot, there's a lot for everybody. There's Animal Crossing only on the Switch. There's Ori and the Will of the Wisps only on Microsoft, only on Xbox, play anywhere. There's Neo 2 and MLB The Show only on PlayStation. There's now Predator Hunting Grounds. They're going to have a trial. There's a lot. There's Doom Eternal, which is for anybody, right? So March is more now about games, more about like, hey, there's actually kind of a game for everybody. Everybody's going to be playing games, and that's great. And even on the channel here, like, we'll be covering those games, right? But in the background, there's also this Arkham stuff, and yeah, I think it would steal the news of the day it's announced, but if they did in February, you could have like kept that going for a very long time, whereas now in March, you have a lot more to compete with just in general. And again, we need to get rid of these images. We need to get through them, right, in that way. We need to get through these images in order to get to a trailer, in order to get to an announcement. And so I don't think March is that time. I do think March, really, I know I said like February needs to be. February did have that huge leak of the whole reboot and fall of 2020. So I would say February had its moment for Arkham, even though it was just leaked. I still think it had what it kind of needed to. But okay, I mean, we're done with that now, right? We're into March. This is big boy time. We need at least one set of images in March, maybe another set of images in April, and then May, you announce the title, you show us a small trailer, and then June, it's at E3, we get the gameplay, we get the release date if it's not already done, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think that works. I mean, that's 3-4 things in a row. Every single month you have more Arkham stuff. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. But we know who we're dealing with here. And again, it's all joking, okay? I know they're working hard. I get that. Maybe my jokes come off a little bit too serious. I understand they're working hard. I have a lot of respect for them. I know making a game is not easy. I understand that. Nobody's ever attacked them for that. I don't think anybody's displeasure in this has ever been towards those kind of workers. I'm pretty sure everybody's just upset with how they've handled the announcement process, and I think a lot of that comes under fire from people that don't pay attention, don't read other people's comments, don't actually watch any of my videos, but think they know what I'm talking about. That's where a lot of that comes from. Ultimately, the way they've handled this has been flat out horrible. I mean, I don't know any other word you could possibly say. And now we're into March, where it's really like you got to give us something in March. I really don't think if we leave March without anything, things start to get a little scary, to be quite honest with you. But guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think we're getting an announcement? Do you think we're getting, at least images in an announcement in March? Also, as always, make sure you let me know what you want me to talk about Arkham related. We have videos that go up on Arkham every couple days. We'll be talking about Rocksteady actually next week as well. So some fun videos definitely coming up. Any news that releases or any leaks, anything like that comes out for Arkham, I will obviously cover it. You guys absolutely rock. I say it all the time. You guys are truly are the best. Thank you so much for supporting me and the channel all this time. We're going to get rewarded eventually. It's just a little while away. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.